This is an extract from the Leader Coronavirus Daily podcast by the Evening Standard and hosted by me, David Marsland. To hear the whole thing, search for it on your podcast provider.
It's all been rather will they, won't they for months. Will primary-aged children have to go back to school before the summer holidays officially start? The government's finally answered it with no. It will be September before classes restart. Our editorial column thinks that's too long.
The longer schools stay shut, the greater the educational divide in society becomes. A generation is being harmed. Schools must take part of the blame. Teachers are being paid their full salaries, and some are working hard in tough circumstances. Others are not. But it's the government that sets policy in lockdown, and the government which should be making sure it is followed. Instead of action, we have silence. Only a small minority are getting anything like a normal rhythm of lessons online, and most of that minority are at private schools, which have the resources and incentives to provide them. The poorer your family, the less likely you are to be taught.
The decision has left some parents up in arms, not to mention the children who had been looking forward to having a change of scene after lockdown. But should this move prompt a change in the way we think about educating children? Is cramming them all into one classroom really the best environment? London's seen its very first Forest Academy open, where pupils are given lessons outdoors. Steve Cottrell is one of the teachers. Steve, tell me exactly how this works, because England is not really known for its gorgeous weather, is it?
We've had our first year open. We are a seasonal school, so we have been working from last September through to now. Through every season there has been. We adjust and we reflect on everything we do. We make the most of the seasons we have around us, and we use the seasons as key learning points for our kids as well. As you can imagine, at the moment we've just come back to school after lockdown, and the garden and the house and the grounds are in full bloom. We're doing lots of nature walks with the children, and yet we use the environment very much around us, depending on what that environment is at any point.
Yeah, I can hear them playing merrily in the background behind you. And you spend 95% of your time outdoors with the children. How does that work for you exactly in terms of, being in nature, potential distractions?
I think in terms of it, rather than potential distractions, it's inspirations everywhere. And it's harnessing the natural curiosity of the world around them that children have, and using that as hooks into their learning. And regarding the weather, the philosophy is there's no such thing as bad weather, it's just bad clothing. So we very much in winter, all the staff and all the children have layered up. We've got robust outdoor clothing that we use, so that when it's wet and muddy and cold, we still make use of the outdoor environment around us.
I mean, yeah, and that's a very nice phrase, that it's no such thing other than bad outfits and bad planning, and I guess be prepared or prepare to fail in terms of the British traditional weather. But, there must be some sort of challenges that you've come up against other than just the weather of teaching outdoors.
In the way that teaching children has its joys and its challenges, and it's how we work together with the children and with the families and as a team. We harness the passions and the interests that children have, and we really involve them in planning where their learning's going. We really get the children involved in planning where they want their learning to go, really sparking off personal passions and interests that they have, and while also then using our core spine of making sure we're developing those key skills of reading, writing, maths, personal and social skills, geographical, historical research, things like that, and how we really feed and weave those core skills into the interests and passions that children have.
Search for the Leader Coronavirus Daily on any podcast provider to hear more from the podcast.